Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. Today we're in Psalm 86. And while the last several Psalms have been Psalms of Asaph or the sons of Korah, Psalm 86 brings us back to a Psalm of David. And as David is going to speak to God here, he is going to do so from the standpoint of asking for God's mercy and God's help. And so let's see what David says in Psalm 86. Beginning in verse 1, we read, Bow down your ear, O Lord, hear me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my life, for I am holy. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you. Be merciful to me, O Lord, for I cry to you all day long. Rejoice the soul of your servant, for to you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. For you, Lord, are good and ready to forgive, and abundant in mercy to those who call upon you. Give ear, O Lord, to my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. All the day of my trouble I will call upon you, for you will answer me. Among the gods there is none like you, O Lord, nor are there any works like your works. All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and shall glorify your name. For you are great and do wondrous things. You alone are God. Teach me your way, O Lord. I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. I will praise you, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify your name forevermore. For great is your mercy toward me, and you have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. O God, the proud have risen against me, and a mob of violent men have sought my life, and have not set you before them. But you, O Lord, are a God full of compassion and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in mercy and truth. O, turn to me and have mercy on me. Give your strength to your servant, and save the son of your maidservant. Show me a good sign for good, that those who hate me may see it and be ashamed, because you, Lord, have helped me and comforted me. As you look at Psalm 86, you have here David coming before God and asking his help, asking for his mercy and his comfort and his care. And yet I want you to notice in this psalm, as we make some applications from it, that there are some phrases that David uses in his prayer to God through this psalm that more times than not in Scripture are used in God's statements to man and not the other way around. Let me show you what I mean. In verse 2, David makes the statement, he says, Preserve my life, for I am holy. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you. Here it is David speaking to God. And while most of the time in Scripture we see this sentiment from God that God is holy, and it is the idea oftentimes that his righteousness is such that it separates him from man, and he will not look on iniquity, and he will not accept wickedness, and so on and so forth. But here it is David who is saying to God, Preserve my life, look out for me, help me, because I am holy. You know, Peter will make the statement in the New Testament where, in stating that God's desire is for us to be holy as he is holy. And what David is saying here is that he is exactly that. He is separated from those out in the world who are doing those things that are wrong. He is striving to do what is right. He is seeking to follow God wholly and completely. And as such, he is holy. The idea of holy simply means to be set apart from the rest, so to speak. And so you have this idea that David says and can say with confidence, I am holy. Why? How can he make such what we would consider to be a bold statement? Well, Notice some of the things that are stated in the rest of the psalm. He says, "For I cry to you all day long," verse 3. "For to you, O Lord, I lift up my soul," verse 4. Verse 6, "Give ear to my prayer and attend to the voice of my supplications, for you will answer me," verse 7. And then the admissions, "Among you, or among the gods, there is none like you, nor are there any works like your works," verse 8. "All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you," verse 9. "For you are great and do wondrous things, you alone are God," verse 10. Over and over, David is showing the mindset and the mentality of one who is set apart and devoted to the service and the worship and the praise of God. And therefore, he is making a truthful statement when he says in verse 2, "For I am holy." I am holy in that I am set apart for your service and for your praise and glory. When it talks about "be holy as I am holy," that's the kind of mentality that God is looking for in us. But as you get down to the end of the psalm, you have David giving another phrase that oftentimes God is giving to man, and yet here David is going to return it toward God. And that is the statement that he makes in verse 16 when he says, "Oh, turn to me and have mercy on me. Give your strength to your servant and save the son of your maidservant." Usually it is God telling Israel to turn to me, to go away from the things that you have been doing, the roads that you have been taking, and turn yourselves back toward me. But here, David is going to utilize the phrase. In verse 15, he talks about how that God is full of compassion and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in mercy and truth. And he says, I want you to turn those things toward me. I need your help. And I need your compassion, your grace, your long-suffering, your mercy, and your truth. Turn to me. So on the one hand, at the beginning of the psalm, you have this statement, "For I am holy." My desires, my goals, my focus is on worshiping and serving you. Now I need you to help me. He has in verse 17 at the close of the psalm, "Show me a sign for good, that those who hate me may see it and be ashamed, because you, Lord, have helped me and comforted me." As you look at Psalm 86, you see a psalm where David is seeking God's help, but is also claiming for himself and claiming by his life and by his actions that he is worthy of the help of God because he has done what God has asked him to do. These are some of the things that I see in Psalm 86. And I hope that they're things that are beneficial to you. Next time, we'll come back and we'll examine Psalm 87. Thank you for viewing the video today, and I hope that you'll join us next time. But until then, have a great day.